Being pretty sporty. Been pretty sporty anyway. Bit of a gym rat. Done plenty of body transformation things and PT things before, but they're all very, very short term. Don't make you look good to get on a beach for a bit, but actually what they don't do is look at your holistic health and actually improve your mindset. So they'll get you training in a different way, eating a different way, but actually it's not holistic. So kind of when I had a bit of a chat with Alex, it was the mindset. It was a mindset that I really, really wanted to focus on and change. Being, of a certain vintage myself, I didn't know if we could teach an old dog new tricks, but I went in with it with a kind of a very open attitude and thought, we're going to give it a bash, and we're going to try and generate a winner's mindset in Dave and see if we can change the game. And that's kind of what we've been working on, isn't it, Alex?
Little bit, yeah. What was it like before we kind of jumped in and we did some stuff together? Like, what was actually going on in your life? Like, if be as open as you like, but what was some of the stuff that you were facing into?
I think, look, being brutally honest, I've been going through a very tasty divorce. Is first and foremost, which I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, in all fairness, because they're pretty brutal, especially when there's kids involved, of which I do have kids. So I was kind of going through quite a lot of lulls and really searching for something to give me a bit of purpose, give me a bit of focus, driving some additional ownership and accountability. I get ownership and accountability at work and in terms of delivering things for customers, but actually I needed ownership and accountability for Dave. And I needed that additional purpose to kind of, I suppose, get me through it, in all fairness, being brutally honest, get me through what was pretty dour and dark times. So that's kind of why we went on the journey and wanted to improve that mindset, and that's kind of where we started, mate. Really want to.
And so going through divorces, you say not something that you wish for your worst enemy, but how was that affecting you physically, mentally, emotionally? Before we started doing work together.
Before we started doing work together, you start. I started kind of questioning myself quite a lot. Kind of not. I wasn't driven and focused enough. So I was constantly trying to make up ground all the time. So instead of it being an 8-hour day, it's a 10.5-hour day, it's a 12-hour day, because I wasn't able to concentrate fully on what I needed to do as Dave. And that's kind of where I needed to gain the clarity. I needed to gain the focus, the drive, and the organisation, as well as the mental resilience and strength to say, you know what, we're all right and we can get through it. And not only can we get through it, being honest, we'll get to this again, but we're not just getting through things anymore, we're smashing it. And that's kind of what Reignite's done. Reignite, like I said, I've been through training programs in the past and they're all of the short-term gains. Reignite's delivered a change in mentality. It's delivered a toolkit for Dave that's going to allow him to, first and foremost, achieve the goals that he set out to achieve at the start of the process, but also set tougher goals, continue to set goals, look for new challenges, and also smash those new challenges. That's what this program has delivered for Dave.
If you think about some of those goals, right, if we cast our mind back to the very first session or two that we have, and it's like, what do you actually want to get out of this? Like, what did you come in hoping to achieve? Like, just sort of paint a picture for some of the guys listening. What was that like for you?
Yeah, so a lot of people will come into this program and they'll want to lose weight or they'll want to do this, that, and other. That wasn't my focus, because I was already in the gym. That wasn't my focus. So my focus was time. First and foremost, the number one was time. I wanted to be more efficient and more effective as a professional and as a person, to free up my time so I can spend that with my kids and be present at all times with my children. That was the number one focus. We also had bits around, running a 5K, because, you know, I'm a big lad, a little bit cardio averse, built for static strength. That's where I always focused. So, you know, and I thought, you know, that's a nice caveat to have 5K. And also when I started this process, I was about as flexible as a 2x4. So that was something else that we worked on, you know, just to try and work on that holistic health and body management, because, you know, I'm not getting any younger, and, you know, doing the same things that I've always done is only going to breed more injuries. And that's kind of where, so flexibility, time, you know, time, cardio, flexibility, kind of 3 key headings is where we set as kind of stall out.
Okay. And again, like, you know, thinking back to some of the conversations that we were having before you actually signed up and sort of embarked on the journey that you've been on, what were, if any, like, what were some of the reservations? Because I know if someone, you know, someone comes to me and says, I'm going to help you do this, you know, I'm going to help you do extra productivity, I'm going to change the way you feel about the man in the mirror. There's part of it's like one of my previous clients said, it's like you're trying to sell snake oil. Like, what were some of the reservations that you had before working with any sort of professional in this space?
I think, look, I mean, like I've said it a couple of times. I wasn't interested in just another body transformation workshop or anything like that. So the key takeaways and focuses for me were around, you know, the discussions around mindset, around, you know, this is not about just giving you another workout, giving you a diet plan. This is about fundamentally giving you a toolkit. Yeah, a toolkit that we built together over many, many weeks actually fits me. So it's building a toolkit that fits Dave's lifestyle. So therefore it works. And if it works, there is no blooming excuse to not fucking do it. Yeah, and that's what it's all about. It's about removing the excuses, building the mental resilience. And, you know, when we talked about, you know, on the outset around freeing up time, I was always dubious about could this man actually deliver more available time for Dave? Yeah, more available time for Dave to spend with his family. So I was always dubious about that, because it's something that I deem to be a little bit woolly. Whereas if you say, you know, you're going to lose half a stone in X amount of weeks, it's very, very tangible. But changing someone's mindset and making them more effective, and giving them time back, was always something that I wanted, but I weren't sure I would achieve it.
You think about like the last 3 or 4 months as well. So like sometimes people can embark on a change or transformation. I think it's going to be plain sailing. It's just like that wasn't the case for a lot of my clients. It certainly wasn't the case for you. Like, what were some of the big sort of challenges or obstacles that you had to contend with?
I think from my point of view, look, I mean, I'll be honest with everyone. I fell behind on this program because, and that wasn't because of anything other than just external pressures, which were mainly around family, divorce, and little bits and bobs. But the consistency that you deliver as a coach, as a mentor, and actually just giving me a jolly good kick up the bum when I needed it, you know, that's what spurred me on. The time for me was difficult, but actually what I can say to everybody is that if you actually put the time in, the results are going to come, and the results are pretty impressive, to be fair.
Oh, let's touch on those then. So from your perspective, you know, you set these goals coming in, like what are some of the tangibles, and maybe some of even like the intangibles from your perspective, like completing the Reignite PRO program?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that's impressed me about this program is, and when my first tribe call on this, and the regent there went, oh, it's like, you know, it's a tasting menu of what you can get in terms of, you know, your mental health and your professional health, and Alex is like a tasting menu. I think it's far greater than that. It's like just a massive, just ginormous toolbox, because throughout this process, you know, we've worked on my flexibility. So I've gone from a seated position, only being able to get my hands on my knees, to now, you know, being able to grab my toes. You know, that's a tangible difference in terms of my flexibility. This process actually inspired me to get involved in white collar boxing. So part of that white collar boxing move has then been to move to more cardio. one of the goals at the start was to be able to run a 5K. I did two 5.5K runs in a week the other week in terms of preparation for boxing. That's something that I never think I thought I'd ever say. But in terms of that is measurable, it's quantifiable. I've done that, and the numbers don't lie. I think the most important thing that for me is I know now that this program has allowed me to gain about 3 hours a week, and that was very, very woolly and uncertain coming into it. It was always a hope, but what this program now allows me to do is finish work early on a Friday. This program allows me to finish work early on a Friday, which means I can pick my daughter up from school. It means that I get those extra 3 hours with my kids. That is priceless. That is absolute gold. And that was my number one. If I could achieve that through this program, if I could get there, then everything else is, falls by the wayside. But that, it actually delivered that for me. And I didn't know, being brutally honest, if that was even possible. Whether that I just thought it was just one of them things on a poster that, people preach about and say they can deliver, but it's become tangible. It's been achieved. It's been achieved in a short space of time as well. And not only that, I feel like all the time that I now spend in a professional environment is now more value adding than non-value adding when compared to, if we go back to December to now. Because I feel like I am fired up. I am the best version of me, both when I'm in a gym or when I'm in an office or when I'm playing in park with my kids, whatever it is. I'm there. I'm in the moment. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm focused on it, and it's comfortable now. But night and day, it's really switched the best version of me on, and for that, I'll be forever thankful for that from your point of view, Alex, because you've adapted your program a lot to me because of whether it be injuries through boxing or whether it be me changing certain little bits and bobs throughout it, but you've always delivered, and you've always held me accountable, and you've made sure that any KPIs that we've set, any goals that we've set, that I've not been allowed to make an excuse. I've not been allowed to make an allowance for myself. It's pushing me on. And what that's allowed me to do is realise that Dave can achieve more. If Dave just focuses and prioritises Dave, because if Dave's all right, everything else falls in around it. And if I can do that, and if I can do that repeatedly over the course of time, I get time back. I get a lot more self-reward. I feel better. I'm better. I'm holistically better in terms of myself, my own worth, my own self-confidence, and also what I can now deliver for my family, but also deliver for my clients.
And that's one of the biggest mindset shifts that we talked about, right? Was the shift that you've got relatively young daughters that you're there for, right? You've got like work colleagues, you take your work very seriously, but it was that subtle shift to put yourself first and start filling up your cup before you actually fill up other people's. And when you started, it's like, no, look, my daughters come first. They are my world. And so we flipped that on its head. And so you started building, leading yourself, leading the family, leading the workplace. But if you think back to any sort of other mindset shifts that you had during the program, like is there anything that sort of stands out to you as like, maybe I think
there's one,
different.
There's one thing that stood out, and it resonated with me instantaneously. And I'll say it to myself every day, which is be uncommon amongst the uncommon. So this is where, and I found myself kind of just reciting this over and over again while I'm on a treadmill because I hate them, and they absolutely kill me. But it's about when you think you are done, you are not done. When you think your body's had enough, that's just your mind telling your body that it's had enough. You've got to control your mind. You've got to go, no. I can give more. I can push through this. I can do one more 400-meter lap. I can do whatever I need to do. I can do 10 more reps. I can do one more cycle. And when you start and break that down and you push yourself, you be uncommon amongst the uncommon. You start and become that top 10%, that top 5%. You're pushing yourself where somebody else is not going to push themselves. And whether that be in a professional environment, going, no, I can finish this presentation tonight. I can do this tonight, ready for tomorrow. I don't have to get up early in the morning to do that, or I don't have to miss my morning workout to do that presentation in the morning. I can do that now. Finish it now. Prioritize yourself and get up, go to the gym, go work out, and then go and deliver that presentation feeling good. It's just the small changes. Don't find the excuse, find the reason for doing. And that's be uncommon amongst uncommon, and just driving for that extra percentile of what that means to me. That's what flipped the script, and it flipped the script for me in terms of the boxing training, in terms of the mentality, and being able to. It literally went from a 3.5K run to a 5.5K run.
I like
within 2 weeks.
Yeah, I like that one.
Within 2 weeks.
It forces you to like start to take that accountability back, right? Because anyone can, well, not anyone, but it's easier to get a result when you've got someone breathing down your neck telling you what to do, that kind of trainer mentality of like, do this, fucking do that, right? It's kind of like what you'd expect in the military, right? But you don't want to be necessarily working with someone. You can't be working with someone all the time. So you have to take back that accountability and get to a state of inspired action. And that uncommon mindset is like, who else could be doing this? Who else could be like, who's able to do this? Who's able to like be there for their family, have this job, and train for a white collar boxing match? It's like that mindset. I think that was what allowed you. Like when I was coaching you, that was one of the biggest shifts that I saw you go on.
Definitely. Yeah. It was a transformational, probably 10-day period after that. It was just like something, you tried lots of different things with me, and we got to meditation, we got to breathing, but they were like, journaling don't work for Dave, this don't work for Dave, but right, we'll do that. And then you kept firing, and then you found you broke it, find that breakthrough moment, and it just clicked. And from then I was just on fire, and I feel like I've been on fire ever since, and I still feel like I'm on fire now. It just resonates. You have the ability. I don't know how you do it, and I said it a few weeks ago that. I think we were like 9 weeks in, and I'm thinking, I don't know. About 8 weeks in, I'm thinking, I'm not really sure if this mindset's working. And then by week 10, I was like absolutely on fire. And I was like, I don't know how you do it, but you found a way of getting it all to click, and then boom, we were off. And, it is Reignite, does exactly what it says on tin. It reignites, it stimulates you both physically and mentally, gets you into a place where you're just ready for that challenge. And that's how I feel I am now. I'm ready for anything. Once I've been and knocked someone out on Saturday, I'm going to be looking for my next challenge.
Right, we're going to talk about that a little bit as well, right? But talking a bit about the coaching then, because if I was talking about my coaching or how I think I coach, it's pushing and challenging in equal measure. Do you agree with that? Do you think I'm a cunt? Like, how would you describe the coaching?
I definitely don't think. I don't think you're a CU next Tuesday. No, not at all. But in terms of what I found beneficial is that you're not here. You don't scream and shout. You don't scream and shout or demand. You ask the question. You have made me think about every answer I'm going to give, and actually, you fire it back at me saying, okay, so why have you not done that? How do you think you could have done that differently? And it's just making me think and working on that mindset, which has been very, very different. But also, when I have been falling behind and I have reported in on a Wednesday, you have given me that WhatsApp call going, sort your shit out, Dave. This is not acceptable. And I've gone, you know what? He's right. I need to sort this out. So I know every client will be different and you'll work differently with every client, but for me, you have known when to give me a size 10 up arse. You've known when to, on other times, you've known just when to just manipulate that question to get me to think slightly differently. And that mixture really spurred me on. And like I said, that you've tried a lot, or I feel like you've tried a lot of different methods with me in terms of like, just try that for a weekday. What's that felt like? Have a review, right? Sack that off, put that in and put that in, and then do that. And you've kind of you've steadily built up this portfolio of a program for me that has just kind of ended up being something that, you know, I'm definitely, this is something I'm going to use now forever and a day, because I feel great. I feel banging. I feel energized. I feel ready for tomorrow already. You know what I mean? It's like I'm just eager to get going all the time, and I don't find an excuse. You know, my to-do lists are done for tomorrow. I'm ready. It's just, I don't know. You've reignited probably a passion in me from when I was younger, and you know, you've got that hunger to succeed, and you've got that hunger to make a difference. And then you get to a certain level, and you're like, yeah, I'm quite comfortable. I'm not comfortable anymore. I want to be uncommon amongst uncommon. I want to be the best. I don't want to sit back. I don't want to relax. I want to go for it. And you know, and that's kind of what it's really reignited the passion in me for both training one and training differently to what I ever have done. You know, I'm really loving the gym and loving the mix. I'm feeling, you know, absolutely incredible at the moment. I'm back in. I'm in the same size jeans as what I was when I was 21. You know, and I've just turned 39. I haven't lost any weight. But my body shape has been tailored, and it's been. You know, I've changed progressively through this program into a space where I feel happy and I feel healthy, and that's what you've done. Is you've found a way to break through. You know, quite a dour Yorkshireman who's quite stuck in his ways, who's quite headstrong, and you've managed to crack that egg, and you know, we've worked through it, and we've achieved some really fantastic results.
And thinking about the last 3 months, what's the thing that you're most proud of, or like what's the biggest takeaway from the program for you?
The biggest takeaway from the program for me is just that change in mindset. So when I first started, going through a lot of personal stuff. I'm still going through that personal stuff, but I was having high highs and really low lows. Whereas now, you know, I'm managing just to keep things, you know, central. Yeah, there's little blips and little movements in there, but it's just about, you know, one of your terms, conscious consistency. You know, is used a lot in our in the diet work, but actually, conscious consistency is now actually I use that throughout my life and my choices. It's just right, okay. So how can we just level the playing field? How can we just make sure that we're not going to have the low lows and the high highs, and to make sure that we're constantly achieving more, we're constantly making progress. And that's the thing that I'm taking away. It's that mindset of, you know, you don't have to bite off more than you can chew. But there isn't an excuse for not doing what you set out to say you were going to do. You know, you've made a list, you get through it and you get it done. You know, you've got some objectives to get through, you get it done. You know, you said you were going to train. You said you were going to get your ass out of bed today and train. So you're going to get your ass out of bed today and you're going to train. So we've removed the excuses whilst also just bringing things to a more nominal value all the way through, just to keep everything emotionally grounded, or more grounded than what it was when we started. And that's what I'm proud of, because it stopped the yo-yoing and made me more effective.
I remember as well, like one of the conversations we had at the beginning, you said something like, Dave doesn't do cardio. It's like you're a strong guy, you've been lifting for years. Yeah. You're like, Dave does not do cardio. And so when you said about signing up for the white collar boxing, we knew at that point that actually your training had to pivot, because otherwise you were going to be a strong beast and absolutely tank out, you know, before sort of round one, right? So we got you doing some lactic acid threshold training, you know, 400 meters. That was how you, by mistake, ran over 5 kilometers. What was that like, going to that type of training? What were you thinking at the time? What were you thinking afterwards?
Right. So I have always been quite a strong guy, and I love static strength. And yes, I am very cardio averse. Don't like cardio, never have. But we both knew that for me to get into a boxing ring and last the distance, if that's what needs to happen, a change was needed. So I was bought into the fact Dave's got to do cardio. And I was dreading it. I'm not going to lie and say I now really enjoy cardio, and I'm going to do an ultra marathon. That ain't going to happen. But through, you know, the sprints that you were giving me, the lactic acid training, I've actually got as much reward out of that element of training in terms of, and I'll go back to being uncommon amongst uncommon. So it was, Dave, I want you to do four 400-meter sprints. Or I want you to do four lots of 4x4. And I'm like, that's sick. And it's not, I'm like, I can't do it. Before I got to, I can't do it. But when you're on treadmill, it's like, no, come on. Yeah, it hurts. And, and I mean, the lactic acid side of the training literally made me throw up the first couple of times I was doing it. And, I was getting some very, very funny looks at gym because everyone thought I was going to die, including me. But it was great. And actually, it's got me into a place where I'm not going to be someone that does cardio all the time, but cardio will now be a staple of my training regime all the time, because I've realised that to really push myself and focus myself both physically and mentally, I need that element. I need to be something that takes me out of my comfort zone. Lifting weights is my comfort zone. That's great. It's easy. No problem. Cardio, I don't like it, but that's exactly the reason I should be doing it, because it takes me straight out of my comfort zone and where I am. And then I have to push myself, because that's where we are. So we have to push ourselves. So by doing something that is out of my comfort zone and achieving it, and also pushing past a boundary, is massively rewarding. And it just gets your brain firing slightly differently all the time. So for me, I hated it. It killed me. I've never felt so sick in my life doing the lactic acid stuff. But it's delivered. It's delivered a level of fitness that I didn't think we were going to come out of this program with. It's delivered a change in mindset from me from an ongoing training perspective, and actually, it's unlocked a greater level of mental resilience for me as well, because I'm pushing myself through something that fundamentally I don't want to do.
And so tying all of that together, right? So you take in, the nutrition from conscious consistency, you take in the training from anytime, anywhere, taking some of the mindset stuff that we've been focused on for the last 3 months. You walk into the ring in about 48 hours time, right? What's the mentality at the moment? What's your mindset knowing that that's coming up?
It is what it is. I'm getting in there and I'm doing business. That's it. It doesn't matter what anybody else is going to bring to the party, because I know what they bring. And that's it now. It's not about anybody else. It's about Dave. Dave's put the work in. Dave's literally made himself throw up. Dave's trained through injuries. Dave's done the hard yards. Dave's got the power. Dave's got the mental resilience. They ain't got that. I've got that. And that's what this has delivered for me. I'm going in there and I'm going to win. I'm a winner. And that's where we are. That's where me and you have been working. That's what we're doing, and that's how we're going to get. That's how we're going in there on Saturday night. We're going in there and we're getting a W.
Love that. All right. Well, look, last one do for me, and then we'll open it up if anyone else wants to ask a question. We've got quite a closed group today, so if anyone does want to ask,
no worries.
We'll stay on 5 minutes. When you're thinking about like performance coaching and you're thinking about, health coaching, like what type of person or who or what type of person do you think it's like best or better suited for? Like who can actually get some value, the most value from the program?
All right, let's do it. If you could...
I think that's difficult because everyone's got slightly different goals, but I think you have to be or want to be a very, very high achiever. You have to have a high work ethic, high work rate, and you have to be committed. You have to be committed because, if you're somebody that gives up easy, then this ain't for you. And actually, you're not going to get the most out of it. If you're somebody that has plateaued, whether it be professionally, mentally, physically, and you feel like you're going a bit stagnant, a bit stale, and you want that drive, you want to regain your passion, you want to be more successful, you want more, you want to become a lion again. This is for you. This is for you. It's for people that want to achieve more and have that visceral desire to be better, do better, and like I say, achieve more, whether that be personally, professionally, whatever it is. But for me, it's delivering time. My main objective but for other people, that time could be filled with, you know, customer development. It could be built with, you know, doing more, building a business, generating more income. That's what that time could mean for those individuals. For me, it just means time with the kids. But this can unlock a lot of value for you in terms of whether it be, like I say, personally, from my point of view, or professionally. You know, if you want to find a different gear in yourself to allow you to grow your business, this will do that for you.
Awesome. Well, look, thank you from you know, my perspective for coming on. But before we sort of call it a day, we've got sort of 7 or 8 guys on the call at the moment. Like, has anyone got any questions for Dave or anything that they want to go through? We've got some current clients on, got some old clients, and got some guys that I've been talking to as well. So anyone that's got like a question or just anything they want to ask, feel free to. You don't have to, but please feel free.
Yeah, just a quick one from me. And yeah, Dave, thank you very much for that. It was really, really helpful and good to hear. But what was the thing that kind of clicked then? You mentioned things didn't quite work, and then week 8, week 9, and just kind of like clicked and you went on fire. What was that?
I wouldn't say they weren't working, because we were achieving a lot. You know, we were chewing up some major gym routines. I was getting fitter, stronger. I was getting better. It was just that, you know, with a lot of the kind of personal stress that I was going through at the time, I was struggling just to find that real desire to I suppose, unlock the inner beast, really, and just really just get on it. And I was struggling with that. And that's where Alex, kind of, for me, is very, very different to anybody else you'll come across, in terms of he keeps pulling strings until he finds that right note. And then when he finds that right note, he just boom, and he'll just spin you around and you're just on it. And that's the difference. But it wasn't the fact that the program wasn't working. It was just the fact that the mental resilience, that really mental investment from me hadn't clicked on. I was doing it and I was making good progress, but it was just that moment where I just accelerated. And, you know, I didn't see it coming, because I'd gone through, like, say, to about week 8, and I'm like, I look different. I'm doing well. I don't feel that much different. And then it just found a way of whipping it round. And from then, it's just been, the acceleration has been absolutely it's been crazy, Paul. Absolutely crazy. And that's what he's good at. Is, you know, I've got to take my hat off to him, because although I came into this with an open mind, I wasn't certain that he'd be able to deliver what he set out to deliver. And from my point of view, he's over-delivered, and I can never ask for any more than that.
Awesome, cheers, mate. Yeah, it's my first week in the program, so yeah, looking forward to the process. So, thank you.
All I'd say is that I fell behind on the kind of weekly tasks, in terms of, you know, the modules and stuff, and it was hard graft to get back into it. If you can just assign the time to get those modules done as early as possible, get the worksheets done, get them over to Alex. Actually, I think your journey will probably click earlier than mine, but it's because I were in a little bit of a catch-up situation for a couple of weeks that I think I lost ground. But then when it clicked, oh my God, mate, it was banging. It still is.
Cheers.
Yeah, don't be a lazy bastard, Charlie. That's effectively what he's saying. Otherwise you get the wrong.
Cheers, pal. Yeah, cheers, Alex.
Right. Any more questions, guys?
Hey guys, it's Jim. It's Jim Ratcliffe out in Colorado. How's it going?
Hey Jim, how you doing?
All good, mate.
Just fine. Hey, real quick, David, just curious. I had a question on, like, and you sort of just mentioned it, some of the actual deliverable stuff. You mentioned worksheets and things like that. Sounds like there's a bit of that, right? That gets obviously not on the program yet. Alex and I have been chatting, but you know, there's that, like, sort of, hey, here's this sheet, you know, here's where baseline is and stuff like that. There's what did that look like sort of early on, I guess, just logistically, you know?
I think from my point of view, so very early on, I mean, straight away you're setting your own KPIs. You know, what do you want to achieve from this program? And then, you know, you're tracking that from day one. And then through the course of the program where you've been assigned your modules, and there are different worksheets to allow, you'll do worksheets in week 4 where you're doing a map, and then you're reviewing that in week 8. So then you can map your own progress again. And it all gets you thinking differently, whilst also then it fuels your desire to do more and achieve more, because you can see that you are making progress, and that actually the pre-work that you've done, boom, it's happening here. And you start and you gain more and more pace as you're going through, because you can see everything's starting to link together, everything's coming together, rather than, I'm sure for people that have done programs before, people just overload you with loads of information and you're like, fucking don't get it. This is very, very piecemeal. Every week feeds into the next week, that feeds into the next week, that feeds into your overall goals, and it's and you start slow, and then you feel like you're building momentum. And like I say, in after week 8, I kind of coasted along, and then I was just like boom, and I just felt like I took off, and I felt like a completely different animal for like 5 weeks, and I still feel the same now. I feel absolutely great, but you've got to be accountable for what you want. If you're accountable for what you want and you truly want it, you truly want to achieve that, this man will help you achieve that. He will find a way, no matter how many different kind of tools he needs to get out of his toolbox. He will find a way to get you to where you need to be, and he will unlock that door. And once he's unlocked that door, get ready, because you'll be a completely different beast.
And just to build on that as well, Jim, like I'll give you some of my thoughts, which when I first put like a program together, it was designed for the highest and lowest common denominator. So it needs there's enough support in Dave's saying here, like video modules and trainings and worksheets for people that have a bit more time and want to go into something in a bit of depth. But also it has to fit clients that are working 14 hours a day, and they've got families and they've got other responsibilities. So, in their case, they're very, very time poor. So the framework is there for whatever level of depth that you want to go to. Dave was talking about some of the worksheets and mindset stuff. That might have been one of the reasons why it all suddenly clicked at week 8, because actually some of the exercises that we looked at actually got done a little bit later. And as he started to do them and we found the right lever for him, that then got him thinking in a different way, feeling new feelings, and then anchoring himself into this new future version of himself, right? What we call a future present reality rather than a past present reality. Is that helpful?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, look, got maybe time for like one more question. Anyone have anything that a burning question they wanted to ask Dave at all? Nope. Okay, all good. Well, look, Dave, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day. I know you're busy, probably listening to Rocky on repeat at the moment, getting ready for Saturday. It's been awesome having you in the program. This week's your sort of final week, sort of getting set up for the boxing. I already know that you've won, right? But just I know at the very least you're going to give your absolute all going into that. And
definitely.
Thank you for everyone.
No, thank you. Look, at the end of the day, Alex, it's thank you, mate, because without you, I wouldn't be where I am. Without you, I won't be stepping into a ring on Saturday and pushing myself through another challenge. And so thank you for doing exactly what you said on Tim and reigniting Dave, because it's been hard, but it's been a pleasure, and you've definitely delivered for me, Paul, so thank you.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, look, everyone have an awesome rest of the evening, and take care. See you all soon.
Cheers, Paul. See you later.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.